Whenever I talk to people about starting a business, one of the biggest misconceptions that a lot of people have is that starting a business requires an awful lot of money and it's exceptionally risky, and there's no chance of having a business or having success with a business if you don't have a lot in savings or an investor. And as somebody who started a few different income streams and built up a lot of different income streams over the past year or two, I know that this is not the case, right? I've built all of my businesses investing zero cash, not a penny. The reality of being an entrepreneur is that you can make money with no money. And yes, it may not be the business that you ultimately want to get into, but it is something that can facilitate you getting there. For example, I've spoken before about the fact that I wouldn't necessarily mind investing in property in some sort of a way. At the same time, the businesses that I've started at this point, being this YouTube channel, which makes more money than you might think, and the real main source of income that I have, which is my reselling business, which again makes more money than you think when you're drop shipping items, meaning that you don't buy them until the customer pays for them. Yeah, you can make more money than you think, and more so, they didn't require any money to start. Some people might say that you needed some money, but the reality is you have the tools to create businesses like this around you right now. I'm not saying that these are the go-to or best business models, and I'm not saying that they'll work for everybody, but at the same time, if you've got a phone or a laptop, you can start making money. It may require a lot of hours of research, it may require a lot of time, but it does not necessarily require a lot of money. And then the money that you make from that, you could possibly roll into the next business, or create another business which is free to start up. But the reality of the modern world is people have a concept analysis of the past. Some businesses, especially physical businesses, require a lot of money to start up, obviously. But dropshipping, for example, making YouTube videos, which are just two of the things that I actually do, and I'm not one of these people who likes to speak about business models that I don't understand. These are things that I do. You can see the views on this channel, you can see the videos that I make. I've spoken about my dropshipping before in the past, so you know about this. Zero startup capital. A real entrepreneur will be able to make money from nowhere, or from very little money to begin with. And so many people get this idea that, oh, the business needs to be completely perfect. I need to have this much in stock, or I need to have this much leftover capital. In some business models, this is true. This cannot be a blanket term. But at the same time, it puts so many people off entrepreneurship. People say, I want to make a business. I don't care about what business it is. I know some people want to make a wedding cake business, or a flowers business, or a car business of some sort. Obviously, they are very capital intensive. But I want to make a business. I don't know what business. I don't care what business. I just want to make some money somewhere. The internet is a fairly easy place to make money without investing very much, if not anything at all. It depends on how you do it, and obviously the sacrifice in a lot of cases is when you don't invest money, you invest time. That is more true than people might realize. You need to invest a lot of time. For example, up until this point on this YouTube channel, I've made about, I'd say, £600, maybe £700. All of that is profit. At the same time, it's taken nearly 2 years of uploading almost full time. So it's a double-edged sword, and it's starting to pick up now, which is great, but no money to start off with. Arguably, a lot of the time, more time needed. At the end of the day, though, it is an income. It's money coming in. It's some money from a business. And again, let's just use a YouTube channel for example. That £3 to £600, maybe £700 that you may have spare now, you could invest in some, I don't know, some clothing to resell, or some luxury jewelry, or some anything, right? Anything. You've now got some money. So many people make this mistake, I think. They want the first business to be the dream business. I've said this before. People always say to me, well, you can't make a long-term income off of eBay or YouTube or any of the other things that I'm trying to do. I don't care. I don't need to. And I'm not saying that to be short-sighted or arrogant or ignorant. What I am saying it as is, if I made 50, 100, 150k from my businesses and then they all went downhill, that's fine. Because a real entrepreneur will be able to roll this into the next investment. I've shown it before. Not I've said it, I've shown it. This is my third YouTube channel that I've made money from, right? It's my second eBay account that I made money from. I've started making sales on Amazon. I've got other stuff going on too that I'm working on. I'm a big believer in show it, don't say it. So I'm going to show you guys when it's doing well rather than just speak about the concept. But yeah, so many people have this concept that running a business has to be capital intensive and it stops them from being entrepreneurs. And it's a big excuse as well. That's another big thing. It's a huge excuse as to why you've not started. How many of you guys have looked up low capital intensive businesses? How many of you guys have looked up businesses with zero barrier to entry or zero startup cost? And yeah, like I say, in these markets, because there is low barrier to entry, there is oftentimes oversaturation. You're oftentimes going to be working with a lot of competition. But then it goes into how hard your work ethic is, how big your work ethic is, how dedicated you are. You're going to sacrifice somewhere. This guy's sacrificing 30, 40 grand of upfront investment, but he can start making revenue or profits immediately. You may not be able to do that. So your catch is going to be that you're going to have to invest more time. And people like to approach this with, like it's difficult. And I'm not saying it's easy, but what do you want, right? It's not going to get handed to you. So what do you actually want? Running a business and starting a business does not have to be that capital intensive or really even costly at all. But there is going to be a catch, which is likely in time. If you want to learn how to do the businesses that I've been doing, you can learn how to resell or dropship from the link in my bio. I've taught, I can't even remember how many people, but everyone who's taken it seriously has made at least one sale. Everybody has, right? So that's that. There are other businesses, don't necessarily just do what I'm doing, don't necessarily even go on my page, right? You don't need a page like mine. I've said it before, if you want to learn all of the things step by step, you can become successful a lot quicker by paying for a program like mine, but you don't have to do that. You could very easily just learn it all online. It may take you a couple more weeks, but it can be done. It can be done. So many people draw up these reasons as to why it's impossible, and it's not. It really isn't. So, a real entrepreneur, my point is, and I know it's more of a rant video, but will be able to make their way irrespective of the situation. There's people who get rich in a recession, there's people who get rich in a bad economy, there's people who get rich with no money. And I'm not saying that it's like step A to 100, people assume that it's going to be their first business that makes them millions. It's probably not. But you need some capital to roll into your next business maybe, which could be a bit more capital intensive. But so many people are so much in a rush to get to the end goal whilst failing to acknowledge the first steps required to even start to roll this ball of success down the hill, if you get where I'm coming from. Once it gets rolling, it's easier than you think, but we need to get the ball moving in the first place. And a lot of businesses are not capital intensive at all.